All right, boom. Let's do a quick trade recap. I made around $5,000 in total from 8 funded accounts today, 1,100 in the FFF accounts, which is perfect because I lost 2 days in a row on these accounts, but one winning day made it all back plus a little bit more. So it was perfect. And then I made around 320 in each Top Step account, which I kind of was thinking about this earlier. I was like, damn, I was risking around 250, no, around 200. And at one point, I was up $800. I risked it for the biscuit and I fumbled the bag. I can't lie. But at least we made a little bit of money. It's all good, but it could have been better. I should have locked in at least $500. But it's fine. It happens. Anyways, okay, so boom. Right. Okay. So, first of all, market opened up and I mean, it was just falling from the sky, right? Like it fell off a cliff and it had good volume because the range of pre-market, yeah, it was around 1200 ticks, which for pre-market, I would say is really good. So with that being said, I was like, okay, since market is falling, I'm expecting it to have good volume first of all, but I'm not going to expect it to just keep falling because if you zoom out, let me show you what I was kind of thinking here. Like if you zoom out and I was looking at the market before this line right here. Yeah, around 9. Okay, so left of the blue line, what I saw here was just, consolidation. We've basically been consolidating the whole week. And at the time, we were at the bottom of that consolidation right there. Plus, we were at these demand zones down here. So that's why I was bullish because we were consolidating. If you really zoom out, even though we were falling, we were kind of hitting this area of support down here. So, I mean, you guys know I don't do like a daily bias, but I like to get an idea of what's kind of going on in the bigger picture and create some type of I don't want to say bias, but like, little idea of what could possibly happen. Okay. So, now that you understand like kind of what was going through my mind here, you already know I go basically through every time frame, look for supply and demand. Someone asked, how do I find my supply and demand zones? This could be, a good example here is just an aggressive move down or up with a basing candle, which just means the candle before the big move, just a bit smaller than, the candle that made the huge movement. Let me show you a better zone. Okay, this is another good zone here. Basing candle is very small compared to, the next candle that caused a big movement. Yeah. And I mean, there was a bunch in the 5 minute. Oh, let me show you this 10 minute right here. This is another good one. Now, normally when I see something like this, it's yes, there's a big movement, but there wasn't much continuation. I don't like to chart it unless, for example, this time it tapped into that area and kind of rejected it. Okay, which is why I had this marked. All right. So yeah, that's what the gray zones are. And then on the 15-minute time frame, I mark the white lines, which is just area of support and resistance. Pretty simple. All right, and then I always wait for that first 15-minute candle to close after market open. So my first trade is always going to be after 9:45 p.m. Eastern, just because I feel like the first, the first 10-15 minutes of market open is just pretty wild most of the time. Okay, but let's zoom into the 5 minute to kind of show you what I was looking at. Actually, oh, jeez. If you go to the 1 hour time frame, this is the zone that I had marked up right here. And also right here, I know it looks like a bunch, but I like 1 hour zones. I think they're very accurate and could cause, big movements, which is why I had it marked up, even though it's such a wide zone. I liked it. Plus, there was a 15-minute zone inside of it, which is what this is down here. It looks a bit confusing, but I left it that way because it made sense to me, right? So, boom. Okay, okay, okay. Okay. All right. So 9:45 came around, and even though we were closing below these 50% lines, price action was a bit shitty, right? Like it was just not the best. We see wicks, we see just confusion, we see up and down. So even though market was closing below 50%, I didn't feel comfortable with getting in a trade because of the choppiness, right? So I was like, all right, let's wait for 10 a.m. See, because there was 10 a.m. news. I'm not sure what type of news it was, but normally at 10 a.m., I feel like it kind of decides where to push towards and it continues. Not all of the time, but it definitely brings in more volume to the market. So, another reason why I didn't go short right here was because this yellow line over here is liquidity. And I was like, okay, if I get in a short, like it'll just be an in and out type of trade because liquidity is right there. And I don't want to be the liquidity, right? Like I don't want to get in a trade just to get out. No, I want a good risk to reward ratio, right? So now that you know kind of why I didn't go in a short, it's because of that. Liquidity was close, plus the price action was choppy. And damn, before I get into this trade recap, something that I noticed was that price kind of has been teasing liquidity and then reversing the other way. Like yesterday, we were super close to this liquidity right here, and it just barely missed it and reversed, which is kind of what happened this morning. It's just something to know, you know. It probably doesn't matter, but it's a pattern, could happen again tomorrow. Who knows? But yeah, so 10 a.m. candle, as soon as this 10 a.m. candle closed above this 15-minute supply zone, right here, this is the zone, 15-minute supply zone, we see aggressive selling plus this basing candle, so I marked it out. Okay. Now, I didn't even wait for the 5-minute candle to close. I got in as soon as we broke 50% because the volume was so good. And also because, this is a 1 hour demand zone that we're in. So once I saw an aggressive push up, I immediately got in just because of my bigger time frame bias, right? So yeah, I went in long immediately. My original stop loss was below the zone. Eventually, once this 5-minute candle closed above, what is this, above 50%, I added into the trade. My entry moved up a little bit, and then my stop loss moved up with it below 50%. At one point, I was up around $900, $800, but was expecting it to just keep going up. And it did, it did. But I think I got stopped out at around here because I wanted to lock in money. Plus, what I saw at the time was a rejection of this smaller 5-minute, I think. No, it's a 10-minute zone. Once I saw this little reaction, I was like, okay, it might reverse right here. So let me lock in some money. And I got stopped out at around 200 ticks. So right there. I mean, the risk reward is pretty good, but I still could have made more money. Shoulda, coulda, woulda. Who cares? It's a green day. I'm just saying I should have focused more on like the risk to reward that I had at the time, which at the time I was risking like 250 and I was up 800. So it's like I should have locked in more than $300, Anyways, I'm not complaining. It was a very good win. If I held the trade, I mean, I would have made way more, but Again, price action was a bit choppy in the beginning. And normally, when price action is choppy like this, I just like to lock in a bit more money than usual just to, I don't know, be more safe. Now, after that trade, I waited for the next 5 minute candle. I did want to get in right away, but I have this rule where I just like to cool off before I take the next trade, unless I really trust the trade. But, this trade, I waited and then basically, I saw this push up. It closed above 50%. Let me erase this because it's kind of in the way. This 5 minute candle right here closed above the 10-minute supply zone that we had. So I went long around here. I got a pretty bad entry, not gonna lie. So my stop loss was below this zone. And yeah, I was actually gonna aim for 50% or the zone. That was gonna be my first take profit, but I got stopped out. And then, I mean, if I kept trading, I probably would have gotten chopped up in this chop. So I'm glad I stopped trading. Also, I looked at my stats and I realized that every time I kind of take a third trade, I tend to lose it. So I was like, let me stick to just two trades because I feel like that's enough. Unless I really trust a trade, then fine, I'll take a third one. But yeah, that's really it. Nothing much. Also, the reason I made way more than in the FF, oh my gosh, I'm sorry. The reason I made way more in the FFF accounts than the Top Step ones is because on that first trade, I actually went in around 10 micros, which is a mini. Don't ask me why. I'm a bit more aggressive on the FFF. Oh my gosh, I'm stuttering. I don't know what's going on. I'm okay. Let me take a breather. Let me take a breather. Okay. Because I want to be more aggressive on the FFF accounts. Okay, so I sized up, I risked a little bit more. Plus, I have a really good balance, so I have good drawdown. So, yeah, I mean, that's really it. I risked it for the biscuit, and the biscuit came with honey butter, so that was good. But yeah, that's all. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you want to trade live with me or access to these small little courses that I have, or schedule one-on-one calls with me, or have access to all my live trades, then I'm currently running a 50% sale off. It will end tomorrow, but who knows? Probably next time I get a payout, I'll probably do the sale again. Anyways, thank you for watching.